Can you remember seeing one of those television interviews where the person asking the questions tries to trip up the person being interviewed by presenting an extreme set of circumstances for which exception would have to be made to what otherwise would be a perfectly good suggestion or policy? Maybe somebody like a government minister for health arguing that exercise is good for you, but the interviewer quotes an example of a person recovering maybe from some major form of specific surgery where it would be clearly better for them to rest. The minister would be able to list and explain, no doubt, a whole range of exceptions to the rule, but the trick is the interview is only for 2 minutes. So the interviewer leaves them looking like they've not really thought through their policy and they don't really understand the sort of situation that people are facing. It's a fairly standard approach to interviewing that enables some news channels to present a person as maybe lacking understanding, or in some circumstances even leads to the person being labelled a bigot, particularly if they're a religious leader. Well, that's a good scenario to keep in mind as we approach this morning's passage from Mark chapter 10. It says that in questioning Jesus, some Pharisees tried testing him by asking him about divorce. The word tested literally means try out his defences. It indicates that they're trying to catch him off guard. It was a deliberate attempt to trick him into saying something that wouldn't be generally acceptable at that time in that society. And what we see in his answer is that Jesus cuts through all the legal definition and the technical intricacy which could surround any specific case, and he goes straight to the heart of the matter. What he focuses on instead is God's purpose in marriage, why God gave marriage in the first place. As he does so, Jesus quotes 2 verses from the book of Genesis. Firstly, Genesis chapter 1 verse 27, which reads like this: So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. This makes the point that God intentionally assigned gender. And then Jesus moves on to Genesis chapter 2 verse 24, where we read, That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. God's original purpose was that a man and a woman should live in lifelong faithfulness. That was God's original plan. That's what's summed up in our wedding service. When I marry couples in church and they stand in front of me, this is what I read from that service. The Bible teaches us that a marriage is a gift of God in creation and a means of his grace, a holy mystery in which a man and a woman become one flesh. It's God's purpose that as husband and wife give themselves to each other in love throughout their lives, they shall be united in that love as Christ is united with his church. Marriage is given that a husband and wife may comfort and help each other, living faithfully together in need and in plenty, in sorrow and in joy. It is given that with delight and tenderness they may know each other in love, and through the joy of their bodily union may strengthen the union of their hearts and lives. It is given as the foundation of family life, in which children may be born and nurtured in accordance with God's will, to his praise and glory. It sets out a beautiful picture of God's best as we find it in the scriptures. The problem is that we don't live in a perfect world. People choose to go against God's best. When that happens, things do go wrong. They always have, due to the failure and sinfulness of people. Sadly, we've all come across specific examples of that. The partner left abandoned because the other found somebody else. The mother and children who had to flee the home because of the behaviour of the father, or the other way round. These things are nothing new. They had to be dealt with back in the early history of Israel, when Moses first passed on God's law or rules for that society. God never condoned these things. He never said it was good. He just allowed divorce under such circumstances as the only practical way forward. What Jesus does in answering the question in our passage is state two realities: God's best and human failure. He recognises that due to human failure, divorce is sometimes necessary. But he emphasises God's original purpose was better than that. Surely that's something that every church must do. Focus on teaching, encouraging God's best, whilst recognising there will be amongst us those who've been hurt, let down, for whom the ideal came to an end. Where that's the case, we have to help those people forward from that situation, to be sympathetic to the circumstances, and to offer whatever assistance is needed to the individuals, to their children, to all affected. But in doing so, let's never forget God always wants the best for us. He gave us a wonderful thing in marriage. It's something that we should always value and encourage. Those of us who are married should never forget that. As we bring up our children, we must teach it. To our society, maybe we should model it through our lives. In our marriage service, it says, "This is a way of life, created and hallowed by God." Marriage is a gift of God in creation.
Purify my heart, let me be as gold and precious silver. Purify my heart, let me be as gold, pure gold, refined as fire. My heart's one desire is to be holy, set apart for you, God. I choose to be holy, set apart for you, my Master, ready to do your will. Purify my heart, cleanse me from within, and make me holy. Purify my heart, cleanse me from my sin, deep within, refine this fire. My heart's one desire is to be holy, set apart for you, God. I choose to be holy, set apart for you, my Master, ready to do your will. Purify my heart, let me be as gold and precious silver. Purify my heart, let me be as gold, pure gold, refine this fire. My to be holy, set apart for you, God. I choose to be holy, set apart for you, my Master, ready to do your will.
Issues of marriage and divorce always raise difficult questions, and not just on television interviews. In our Zoom groups throughout this week, we'll have the opportunity to discuss these things together. I do hope that you're able to join us. Details of how to do so, as always, are on our website.